Hello again, glad to welcome everyone. You just saw the donation details screen. Please share, please support, stand with Ukraine. And now I would like to welcome our next speaker, CEO and co-founder of PlayToMax, my friend Olga Khomenko. Hi, Olga.
Hi, Taras. So nice to see you.
Please turn on your microphone. I can't hear you. Sorry.
And now? No?
Please check the microphone, maybe on settings. Microphone network, microphone settings.
So, how about now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So my headphones work. Sorry.
Okay, great. So, how are you?
As good as it could be, I would say. I'm alive. I'm in the relatively safe place. And the main thing that all my beloved people, all my friends, all my colleagues and teammates are as safe as they could be right now. So, and I'm really glad to see you safe and sound as well.
Thank you. I'm glad to see you, really. And thanks for joining us today. I will add your presentation to our stream. So please, whenever you're ready, take your time.
Thank you.
And welcome to Game Gathering.
Yeah, such a long-awaited words, and unfortunately not the best occasion to meet everyone today. So, hi everyone, my name is Olga. I'm from PlayToMax. Few words about us, what we did before war, and as you'll know from my speech, are still doing. So we are a team from Ukraine, mostly from Kiev. We are 30 people. And for the last 10 years, we've been developing HTML5 games and playable ads. We've developed a lot of different projects for social media platforms, for web games, different types of playable ads for mobile games, and so on and so forth. Before the war, we lived, like our team lived in 7 different cities in Ukraine, mostly Kiev and cities around it, plus several cities all over Ukraine. At the moment, we live in 15 different cities, so the team is really spread all over Ukraine. Today, there were a lot of talks about the war, about the 24th of February. I won't be too much original in what I'm going to tell you, but I want to share the experience, my experience of our team, and how this all crazy shit. I'm sorry, you then cut it off from the video. How it affects us. Valera Minenko today was saying that his first reaction to stress is irony. At some point, I really agree with him, and would say that it's pretty much same for me, maybe more humor than irony, but still. So today, despite this, everything that is happening in Ukraine, war, basically. In Ukraine, it's happening, the war. I will try to share some fun stories from the war life as well, to cheer you up a little bit. So, like most of people in Ukraine, I guess, we didn't want to believe that such thing as war can ever happen in the 21st century in Ukraine, right? So till the last moment, we didn't believe that it will happen to us. Still, around 12 days before war began, we decided that we want to provide our teammates with an opportunity to get outside of Kiev for like a couple of weeks. That's what we thought. And we suggested, we made an offer. So guys, how about that you move to Uzhhorod in the west of Ukraine, and we provide you, like, we'll cover the accommodation and transportation costs. Among 30 people, only 2 agreed. So this just proves the thesis that nobody really believed that this would happen. So 2 people went to Uzhhorod from our team before war. By the way, I forgot to share you the next slide that I have in my presentation. That's who we are. That's PlayToMax team. Young, talented people from Ukraine who didn't need anyone to save them, you know. So we were fine. We were fine until the 21st of February. And yeah, so as I said, we offered this opportunity for our people to move to the west of Ukraine, but not much of them agreed. Nevertheless, there was a real informational, like, bombarding all over the media about the upcoming war. And even though that no one wanted to believe it will happen, we still wanted to be somehow prepared. So most of us had some kind of emergency backpacks already ready and standing, like, in front of the doors, just in case. And in my talk, there's going to be a lot of things just in case. So just in case, we also, as a company, rented a house, basically a hostel for 28 places in Uzhhorod as well, just in case. We decided that if anything happens, it would be a great spot to gather everyone and then decide what to do. As the story shows, it never goes as you plan. But this thing is one of the bold ones that we did and that I was happy about later on. Few words about where were we and what happened on 24th. So I woke up at 5 something from the call of my colleague who told me that war has begun. It appeared that by the time I already had several missed calls from my friends and family, but I just slept and didn't hear anything. At the same time, my husband had very important mission in Horizon Forbidden West. So he wasn't sleeping, he was playing it. And then is when he heard the bombing. And he decided that until we know anything for sure, it should be at least someone in the family who got his sleep. So he didn't wake me up. So my colleague woke me up at 5 something. And then it all started, like constant calls, messengers, chats, and news feeds, like scrolling it all over, updating each second. I literally thought that if I put down my phone for just a second, something bad will happen. So I wanted to have like a full control under the situation, although it's, as you can understand, it's impossible. And since then, we've learned to live with our phones and newsfeed like 24/7, and we still do. And the main goal of the enemy, of Russian troops, was to get as much panic and as much chaos as possible during these first hours of war. And what we were trying to do is just mobilize ourselves and try to do everything step by step and have some clear instructions, what's what we should do next, like some preparation stuff, what should be in your backpack, what to do at home, like get some water just in case it's turned off, and so on and so on. And as a company owner, I feel as my duty to foresee risks and eliminate them. But in this situation, it was impossible. And if anyone tells you that they were 100% prepared for the 24th of February, they would probably be lying, because it was just impossible. Even though we had some basic instructions prepared and some first steps, and we had this place to stay in the west of Ukraine, it was impossible to foresee everything. For instance, by the time I shared first instructions in our Slack channel with the team, it was 6:30 in the morning. There was already a huge traffic jam on the outskirts of Kiev, of people trying to get out of the city. And so the quick way of leaving the city was already blocked. As you might know, no trains, buses, airplanes, they were not an option. So the car was the only way out of the city. And by 7 a.m. it was already blocked. Friends of mine, they were standing in a huge traffic jam for 6-7 hours just to get outside of Kiev. And we have to also understand that everyone has his own priorities at such a moment. So parents, kids, spouses, friends, pets, it's such a mix, such a cocktail of your priorities. And to imagine how to organize the evacuation of 30 people with all their relatives, friends, pets, and so on, it was just impossible at the moment, at the very beginning of the war. And moreover, not everyone wanted to leave Kiev. For example, my family as well, we didn't plan to leave Kiev at that time. It may sound strange, but at that moment, Kiev seemed to me, for instance, as one of the safest places in Ukraine, because it's a capital. It's well armed and well defended. It has all the resources to keep invaders from our president, Rada, and so on. And we felt like Kiev was the safest place. And also, for those who do not know much about Ukraine, Kiev, we have a metro in Kiev. And it was built during the USSR. And it was initially, most of the stations were built as a nuclear shelter. So basically, when you're underground in metro, it's one of the safest place in Ukraine, whatsoever. And that's why we decided that Kiev is 100% safe and we should stay here. Fun fact, first day of war was really surrealistic for everyone, and for me personally. Funny fact, I managed to conduct a pre-sale call with a potential client at 10 a.m. On 21st of February. And my husband was telling me that I had such a poker face, so the one could never tell that anything is happening at this moment. But by the time of 10 a.m., it was a full-scale war all over Ukraine. But I managed to conduct this call because I didn't know what else to do except of get the work done. And by the way, we actually signed the contract with this partner and are now working with them. So a bit of fun facts. And to understand, we are 30 people. It's not that much, but it's not that little. And each of our teammates, they have their own stories. I just will briefly describe you a couple of episodes for example. So as you can still see on this slide, we were a happy, fun team. And it all changed on 24th. This is the house of Archeon manager. It's one of the first houses that was bombed in Kiev. She lived in it. Fortunately, she was one of two of my colleagues who left Kiev before the war. So she's safe. But just look at this. Her apartment specifically is livable, so it's not destroyed completely, but still, it's just so you understand what has happened to one of our colleagues. Then the other colleague of mine, she has a great-grandmother who's over 90, I guess, and she cannot move by herself. When it was time to evacuate her family, when they decided to evacuate her family outside of Kiev, like she spent a day searching for a wheelchair to get her great-grandmother out of Kiev. Can you imagine finding a wheelchair during the war when everyone is just like one big mess? Another story of our project manager, she's originally from Donetsk, and she has to overlive this for the second time in her life. Just imagine for one moment. Then I have a colleague who stayed in Kiev for pretty much long. Then they decided to get out of Kiev to the nearby village. And it was, like, as we know now, not the safest decision. So one day I contacted him, like, how are you doing? And he was like, we are fine, we are okay, we're staying here. And then in a couple of hours, he called me and told that when he went out of his bomb shelter, he realized that 12 houses in his village were already damaged by fire. And that was the moment they decided to get to us, to the west of Ukraine, to the rest of the team that were already there. So another fact. Our head of development had just had his car brought to be fixed, and he was left without it, like in the middle of the war. Can you imagine, like, a person who now could have been evacuated from Kiev because he has his own car and he doesn't? So yeah. Another fun fact, I don't have driving license and I don't have a car. So it's, believe me, if you don't have driving licenses, just pass your test. Do it even if you don't want to drive your car. Now I understand how important it is. So yeah. So as you can see, each of the team members of our company were affected by this horrible war. Me personally, we decided not to go outside of Kiev, and for the first night of the war, we thought that it would be normal to stay at home, and we slept like in shifts. So you sleep for 2-3 hours, then you have your duty. It was okay until I heard the tremendous explosion outside of the window. So the next day we decided to sleep in metro. This is basically the separate experience worth like 2 hours talk about how people manage to live in metro. I will share you a couple of fun pictures. Well, fun, if we can say so. So basically, we decided to go to metro to stay for a night. Luckily, we live like 2 minutes walk from the station, so it was relatively safe and quick for us to get in there. It's very interesting how people sleep in metro at night. So as you can see on the right photo, if you didn't recognize, it's me. So they get you a train on the station, they open the doors, you can get inside and sleep in the train. People had a different kind of stuff with them, and it's really interesting how day by day they got used to it. They got their own spots in each of the trains, and like a real small city appeared in front of our eyes. A separate thing is that you feel safe in metro, but at the same time you don't feel safe because you cannot hear anything. It's deep in the ground, and you cannot hear what's going on outside. And for me, as a control maniac, it was really scary because you don't understand what's happening outside, and if anything can happen just right in front of you at the top of Kiev. And again, you just scroll your newsfeed. You scroll it and trying to get control over your life, over the moments that are happening right now in your city, in your country. On the bright side, I now know how the tunnels in our metro look from inside. I know where the toilet is in metro, because there were debates like if there is one on the station. There is. Not the best one, but there is. I know where you can smoke in metro. You shouldn't, but I can show you some spots. The funniest thing, and like the most beautiful thing, is how people help each other. They share everything with each other, and like, for example, their last sneakers or their last cigarette, or they are sharing some clothes for those who feel like cold down there. And like on the basically on the second day, I got really ill because it was pretty much cold. So I got ill, and the train operator decided that he can cure me. So what he did, he opened the train cabin, turned on the heater, like told me, sit down, get some like warm, and he got me 10 grams of homemade vodka and told me to drink it, and that tomorrow I'll feel definitely better. Well, I can say it's helped 100%, but at some point it did. So as you can see, among all this crazy stuff going on, there were still some good moments and some moments of kindness that you can remember. And another interesting moment is that at the beginning of the war in Kiev, there was introduced a long curfew. So basically for 2 days. One night, in the evening, we got to metro to spend the night there. And only then we realized that we cannot go out until in 2 days. At first, it was some kind of panicking, like you have to live in metro for 2 days. But then we realized that we had our good emergency backpacks and it was all okay and we'll live. And again, it was really nice community downstairs there. So yeah, we spent like 2 days in a row without going out in metro, and I can say it was the best experience in my life. I wouldn't repeat it, but still it gave us like some feeling of safety. And the separate moment is that we have 2 cats. And it's a separate moment how you have to live with your cats for 2 days without going out. So basically, the main thing was to agree with them to put them into boxes and go downstairs. And then for 2 days, they were just sitting there. Poor things were just sitting in those boxes. And one of them, she refused to eat, she refused to drink. And I was really worried. And I didn't know what caused me more stress, like everything that's going on outside or everything that's going on inside. And I was really worried that it wouldn't be that it would be bad for her. But then we got home. The first thing she did, she ate, and I like felt a relief, and it was like comparatively good. So we stayed in Kiev for several days, but then you realize that the tiredness and sleeplessness just gets you. And so for the first week of war, our company, we had like days off for the first week, just for everyone to move along somewhere to the safer part, to get their head together, to be sure that everyone is safe. It was our first priority, that everyone is safe. Work didn't matter much at that time. But then you realize that at some point you have to get back to it, because it's important. It's important because it brings money to economy of Ukraine. It helps create workplaces. It helps people to just live. So I understood that at some point we have to get back to work, and living in metro and having like 2 hours of sleep each night doesn't give you any opportunity to continue your work. And also another factor why we decided to leave Kiev was that my parents, they also lived in Kiev, and they lived in a district that was really dangerous back then at the time, because there were even tanks passing the streets where they lived. So one of other like main priorities for me was to get my parents out of the city. And that is why in 5 or 6 days, I don't remember, we decided to leave Kiev as well. The good thing is that we had this hostel rented in the west of Ukraine, which helped us to have some sleeping places somewhere safe. We have to understand that at that moment, like in 5 days after war began, there was literally no place you can stay in the west of Ukraine, just because there was no place. Everyone fled like there, and it was really, really hard to find an apartment, a house, anything, and especially for a big amount of people. So once again, it was pretty bold solution from our side to get this hostel rented, and we decided to move to meet the members of our team in Uzhgorod. So as you can see, our brave cats were traveling with us all over. One of them is looking into bright future when there is no war and no Russian invaders in our country. The other, you can see, they are really waiting to be taken out of the shelter, because, to be honest, one of the most stressful things for them are air sirens, not because of their sound, but because they have to sit in their boxes, and they are really crying each time we take them there. But we have to understand that this war has also a lot of like technical innovations. For example, we have a separate application that notifies us when there is a raid siren in your region, and it has a loud sound to alarm you. And then there is also another sound in this application when the danger is over and you can come out of the shelter. So one of our cats, she learned the sound of this cancellation of the alert. And now each time we are sitting in the shelter, when she hears the sound of canceled alarm rates, she's like just running to the door and asking to open it, because now she knows that the danger is over and she can finally get out of this place. So yeah, trained cats, trained war cats. So in a week after war began, we understood that we have to restore our processes. And thank you, COVID. We already had our processes done so that people could work from any part of the world, basically. And so we had processes prepared, and in a week we started to work, and about 70 to 80% of processes were actually fully running in about week and a half. So I want to thank you, my team. It's a tremendous achievement of yours, of being brave, of being concentrated, of wanting to work just because that's important. And definitely, like, there are lots of factors that you have to think about during such times, and a lot of factors how you can effectively work at the work time. But to be honest, the main thing are people. People who are ready to support you in this time and to do what they can during these times to just help in any way that they can. And here I want to say that why even like restarting our work and not just sitting in a bomb shelter and cry. Like, we have to understand that Ukrainians right now each has his own front of work. So we have armed forces who are fighting for us and fighting for this victory. We have volunteers who are running all over the country, helping people. By the way, game dev volunteers are amazing. For example, Zhenya Korobka, I know he's in a separate room right now giving his speech. So they organized a really great initiative to help people who come from all over Ukraine to Lviv, to help them, to feed them, and so on. So one great initiative. Other initiatives from our friends from Value in Game Job and GDBay, they are doing a lot of work on the informational front. They are gathering help from all over the world, game dev, to help people in Ukraine from game dev to find a job, find a place to stay, and so on and so forth. So people are doing a lot of work. And on our front, we understood that we also have to do our part of the bargain, and that economy wouldn't like cure itself. Yeah. So to get the armed forces functional, we have to bring money to the country. So pay taxes, pay salaries, be able to like spend our free time volunteering, donating, and so on and so forth. So that is why it's really important to continue working in these times, to make sure that at least people you're like responsible for, not the best word, but people who rely on you, they will be safe. They will have resources to keep their families safe. They will have resources to stay in a safe place and basically, yeah, be safe. So we restored our processes during the air raid sirens. As you can see, this is how like a lot of time of our working hours are spent in the bomb shelters, depending where the team members are, but still. And they are delivering, they are doing their job. In about 3 weeks, we fully restored all of our processes. We fully worked on all of our projects, and team was dedicated as like as ever, you know. And it's really fun how you can conduct a call or a stand-up or a sprint plan in the shelter, make fun of it, and laugh together with your teammates. It gives you strength to go on and to understand that even though this all is happening to you, you are strong enough to proceed, and to proceed with at least some picture of a, I wouldn't say normal life, but the pieces of the normal life you used to have, and you can still proceed with them. That is really important. And what I can say that at this point, you cannot plan anything. So even planning sprints sometime can be a pretty tough task, but still, you have to do it in the ways that you can, and you have to understand that it will never be as planned. So you have to have several backup plans for now. Right now, for example, my family returned to Kiev back from Uzhgorod because it's relatively safe. But it's such an illusion of safety, you know. We are still spending our time in the safest places, in our apartment or in bomb shelters. For example, for us, the our bomb shelters look like this. So basically, it's the safest place with two walls in your apartment is usually the bathroom. And so, dear colleagues and partners, if at any time we have a business call and you will hear the echo, it's just because I'm conducting this call from the bathroom. Yeah, so just I know that there are a lot of like really cruel and awful stories all over Ukraine, and my teammates lived through a lot, and me personally as well. I don't know if it was possible to imagine, like, even 2 months ago, that the stories that my granddad told me about the war, that they would become real, and that in a casual chat you will by Zoom or whatever, you will like be casually discussing with your friends what's the safest place in your apartment during the bombing. You know, it's like our lives are never going to be the same again, but we can do whatever we can to restore this life, or even like try to make it even better. So for us, for our team, for me personally, the main idea of what we could do is, as you can see here, work, donate, sleep, repeat. I would also like to stress out on the sleep, and also I didn't mention it, but you have also to eat. So sleeping and eating are the two most important ones in your life right now. And then like do your routine, do whatever you can, help Ukrainians in any possible way. So I'm really grateful to organizers of Games Gathering for conducting such an event. It's really important, and it means a lot to a lot of people of our country. So on the website and in Pine platform, you have this donation information. So please, if you have an opportunity, visit this page, donate if you can. I know that this video should be recorded and then uploaded to YouTube, and I know that people will have a look at this talk sometime afterwards, and there would still be a lot of options to donate to support our armed forces who are doing like incredible things to save us, to save Ukraine, to save anyone they can. We have a lot of great initiatives on humanitarian help, with people moving to safest places, with people being provided by food, clothes, because you have to understand that a lot of people left their homes with just one bag. So when we left our home in Kiev, we had like I had two sweaters and two t-shirts with me for the like the next almost 2 months. And you have to understand that people really need this help. So if you could help and donate, please do. I mentioned about us living like with like a little things with us, but we had like everything we needed. another fun fact, we left a buckwheat not in the refrigerator when we left. So when we got back home, this buckwheat would actually started talking to us if we wouldn't like get it out of the kitchen. So please don't forget about such things as well. And like I hope that those tips would never be useful in your life, but just remember to always throw out the buckwheat from your kitchen before you leave. So yes, this I guess pretty much it, the story of PlayToMax. And what I want to say is we will definitely win. We will win in this war and make our country even more beautiful, even more powerful. And Slava Ukraini! And thank you all very much for supporting us. I wish that anyone who's looking this video from Ukraine is safe, and please keep being safe. It's the most important thing in our lives. Slava Ukraini!
Героям слава. Thank you for your session, and we have, in my opinion, best comment in our chat. Long live the mother of volunteers.
Всем привет.
Regarding the buckwheat, I had a lot of friends with similar stories, and I think that is a bioweapon.
You were producing it, yeah. Also cut it out from the video when you post it.
Yeah, that what they were talking about.
Yeah.
Such an amazing story. Thanks for sharing. And game dev industry and game dev community, Ukrainian game dev community, it's pretty close community. A lot of people know each other, and today I'm listening to all the stories, and each story is pretty common but unique in own way. And this shift sleeping, I experienced it myself too, and those bomb shelter working, and
But
and
please
this story
tell me that you experienced also the train operator giving you some samagon. Please don't tell me I'm not unique in this.
No, I was the train operator that was giving people. Yeah, I was the person, and I was the person who was standing at night at 3 a.m. with a gun on the fortification building, and fearlessly looking into the dark night. And I think every person had its own story, and has its own story during this war. And thank you personally from me for helping your people, helping your employees, taking care of them and supporting them. It's really matters, and it is what makes us people, and this is important, I think. Thank you for this.
Thank you, Taras. But I have to say that it's just not me personally or our C-level people supporting our team. It's our team members supporting each other. So it's really mutual, and we have unique, really great people working with us.
Yeah, this is mutual support, and this is this volunteer division, really, this Ukrainian volunteer movement. And I heard a lot of Russian comebacks talking about, let's destroy their Ministry of Volunteers. And Ministry of Volunteers, what? What they're talking about?
They don't have as many bombs, to destroy each house, and they will never.
Yeah, the volunteers and mutual support is one of our superpowers, and I believe that this was one of the most inspiring and one of the most surprising part of our Ukrainian nation for the whole world. So thank you for joining us today. Thank you for joining Games Gathering, and I really believe, and I hope that we will meet each other again soon, live in person in Kiev. And I believe that our victory is coming, and as soon as possible. Thank you for joining us today.
That's true. Thank you. Bye.